Alright, so moving on to the stained guitar. So this is the Icarus prototype that you might recognize from the staining video. Now when it comes to oiling stained guitars, you can't really have the same sort of approach as you did with just doing a natural guitar or natural finish. Because if you're going to start sanding down with whatever, even 1200 grit or something like that, you're going to be taking away some of your stain. So the only real way to do that is to just apply the stain with a rag or a paper towel. Always make sure you actually have a tool to apply with. So the way I go about, like, this is not fully stained, so I am first going to oil the stained portion of it, and then I'm going to oil the rest, just so I don't have anything kind of blending all together, because I don't want this to seep into the unstained portions of the wood. Now, because the stain has had a long time to cure in between these filming sessions, I don't have all that much pigment coming off. You can see some of it, but not a whole lot. So that's just everything that didn't seep into the wood and is just on the surface. So nothing to worry about whatsoever. The top was simple enough. Now comes the tricky bit where you try and avoid getting any stain, even partially, on the unstained parts of the guitar. So if you feel confident enough, you can just do it by hand. If you have any hesitation toward doing this and are scared that you might screw up, you can mask everything off again. It's just a little bit of work, but ensures that, you know, they won't get any, how would I put it? What would be a good phrase? Cross-contamination. Let's say cross-contamination. That's a fun word for this zombie green guitar. As you can see, this pigment and the stain isn't really coming off on the rag all that much, in my case. But I've had a long period in between where all the pigment has pretty much had time to cure completely. Now, because it is the first layer of oil, I don't feel too bad putting on a little bit extra, because it is soaking it up quite a lot. Now bear in mind, with this particular guitar, I did, during the staining process, sand this down to 1200 already. So it's basically, it has the same effect as the natural finish guitar when it gets to the finish. And again, same thing. Take a clean rag and wipe away all the excess. And I always tend to do buffing with the grain instead of cross grain, or by doing little circles, because I found this gives me the most uniform. That's a word. Gives more most uniform finish. Also going with the grain, buffs up very nicely. And there we have it. I'm just going to do the rest of the guitar the same way that I did the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the wet and dry again. I'm just going to get a clean or a new piece of wet and dry and do the same process. When I'm going to be doing the sides, it's very easy to just go up to the line, basically, where the two meet. And, oh, there's a little bit of a spill. But yeah, I'm just going to be going along the line making sure that I don't sand on the edge itself. Once again, this is something that if you're sort of hesitant about, the sides do buff up very nicely. So what you can do is just leave out the wet and dry paper altogether and just do that with a rag. It's a little bit safer and you're still going to get a good finish if you've done your prep work well. Another very good way of avoiding spillage is to let the oil top cure first and then do everything else afterwards. Kind of like if you were only applying the first layer of oil only to the top, letting it cure and then come back and do a full layer. That works very well as well if you want to avoid spillage. Okay, other than that, this doesn't differ at all from the other guitar. It's the same process. So that's the process of putting the first layer of oil on. Basically, most oils work pretty much the same way. So depending on what you use, just read what the label says and you'll be able to kind of figure out whether or not this method works with the oil that you're using. One thing to note, whenever working with oil and you have a bunch of rags with oil on them, you have to dispose of them properly because they are prone to self-combustion. So the best way is to have a wet metal bin or something like that with water in it and dispose of all the rags in there so they don't have the possibility to start reacting and going off. There have been a lot of workshop fires because of this little ball of whatever. Just be careful with that. If you're at home and you don't have that sort of thing, just easily, what I usually do is I just wet all the paper towels because I usually I'm holding onto everything with the glove on. That's the wrong way around. But because I have gloves on and I'm rinsing them under the tap, then I just yank the glove over on top and throw it away. So basically then I have a sealed unit which is full of water and full of the wet paper rags to kind of throw things away in. Simple as that.